James Redmondinho, he's really, really late, but I don't care cause I'm a big dog and I've got big muscles. Jeez, fab, jeez. Hello there, chat. Welcome back to James Redmond TV. This is by far my favourite show of the day. As much as I appreciate the pre-recordings, I feel like the pre-recordings got me where I am today. The live streams are well better. I get to talk to you. You get to control the stream, and you are the ones who make this entertaining. So, yes, let's just keep it up, all right? Let's maintain the performance. Let's keep the questions up. Let's call me out on all of my bullshit. I swore 30 seconds into the stream. I swore 30 seconds into the stream. First and foremost, Jesus, I'm sorry for the poor language. Second of all, there goes the monetization. So... thank you for watching James Redmond TV. I'm only messing with you, you little bar stools. I've had one or two drinks, maybe three, but it's not been many, and it's just one of those things. I don't think you're going to notice a difference. If you think too much about me having 2 or 3 drinks, then yes, you might think, oh my God, James is acting so different. He's so embarrassing when he's drunk. First and foremost, I'm not drunk. Second of all, I don't think I act different, even if I was. So I don't think it makes a difference. Capiche? Capuche. Anyway, I'm fuming with you all because you are all just on the same wavelength as me, and you're fuming with the transfer business. I come to you for positivity, but instead I get delusion and agreeance. And because so many are now agreeing, or at least even like educating me, like James, it's actually worse because of this. You're letting me know why the situation's bad. Yeah, it's not allowing me to appreciate it. Shout out to Mikey. You just know in the world somewhere, James is finishing a mass pause debate before he comes on live. How did you know, mate? You freaking hell. You're fly on your wall. Shout out to a man like Moody. Hammer scrambling round trying to find his hat because of that seedy barnet on his head. Chat. Out of fuck that! Fuck that! I was going to do that. Do you know that kid in school who just he says, am I fat? Like, he's a little bit fat, but he's not that fat, but he's a bit fat, but he's trying to hear that he's skinny. You're a bit fat. You've had a few too many beers recently, and it's sound, lads. We can let ourselves go. But that's a seedy trip. That's a seedy trip. Anyway, let's get into the footy talk. Harris says Lavia and Doku are shocking links. Only way I'd accept them is if I could see into the future and there's a huge outrage and actual FSG movement which happens, which I don't see happening at the moment. Guys, I'd love to hear your insight on the Jeremy Doku and the Lavia links. Now, I'm going to give you my insight, and while I'm giving you my insight, I'd love to hear yours. Let me read this first. Shout out to Mr. Giori. James, I feel our fan base has been brainwashed into thinking that the likes of Lavia and Thuram is good transfers. None have watched them play. Now, here's the thing. I've actually seen quite a lot more of Lavia than I am surprisingly, or that came to my surprise, because I was thinking to myself, like, I've watched quite a few Southampton games, mainly against the bigger teams, and I tended to notice that although the team was underperforming, I most certainly saw attributes that Lavia can bring to the squad. But I started analysing, okay, so Lavia is going to be 30 to 40 million, I would assume. Correct me on the price if I'm wrong, chat. Furthermore, we've already got Stefan Bajcetic. Now, I'm not saying Lavia is or isn't better than Bajcetic. I haven't seen enough of both. I've probably watched equal of both. I've watched Bajcetic slightly more, but only a couple of games more because he's only played a couple of games. So the one thing that if you do head-to-head, Lavia is above Bajcetic based on experience, more game time, but let's also put into account that Stefan Bajcetic could also start for Southampton. Maybe. And now we'll get to see who's better. So if we're really linked with Lavia and we are looking for a new CDM, then what does that mean for Bajcetic? Does it mean a loan? And also, does it mean that he's not ready right here, right now? Because if so, then that means we don't only need one more midfielder. That means we need 2 more. Because you'd like to hope that we need 1 more number 8. At least I would assume. I'm not so confident with Thiago and McAllister being my main number 8s going into the season. I need a little bit more cover. I understand we've got Curtis and we've got Harvey and stuff, and maybe that's good enough options. I still think we need 1 more. But then when you consider if Bajcetic isn't good enough, which must be the only reason why we're going out and buying someone like Lavia, then that must be also a worry because then that means we need a CDM, or the club feels we need another CDM, someone who's a bit more established and ready if Bajcetic is to go out on loan. So then everyone will ask me, James, is Lavia a good player? I think he is actually decent. I'm not going to lie. I think he sounds. I don't think he gets us back to league winning form, but I don't think one individual player, someone as good as McAllister, for instance, I don't think he gets us back to league winning form. Therefore, we need to make sure that we collectively build this squad properly and give it the squad depth in which it deserves in case we do get injuries, which we do every season, or players just lose fitness, which can happen very, very often with the intensity that we play. But that's my first take on everything. Feel free to counter anything that I've just said. Man like Moody says, cannot believe we're linked to players like Lavia and Doku for a team. You're the second person to have said that. I thought I was just repeating a comment I've read earlier, but you guys really don't like these players, and I admire it. I recognise that this chat has standards. I recognise that this chat wants more, and I think that you have the right, as Liverpool fans and Liverpool supporters, to want more. For a team our calibre, we should be at least linked with half-decent players and not some dusty ballers, FSG or a joke, man. The thing is, I don't mind being linked with Lavia and these players, but if it's only going to be them, then you have to readjust expectations, something I'm not willing to do. and apparently we have to wait and see if that is something we have to do. We have to wait and see if FSG can get a big name over the line. They know if we can get a big name over the line or not, in my opinion. I think they know that information. Maybe not confirm on who it is, but they know if they have the ability to get a big signing or not. And from the looks of it, it seems we can only achieve a 30 to 40 million pound signing. And I know I sound like a royal, a spoiled rich kid. You know what I mean? Like someone from the royal family. I go 30, 40 million. It's outrageous, the fact I'm even saying it. But I'm just talking about the expectations of what we want. So, a D might not be the worst fail, but it's still a fail. And if we finish anything below top 4, that's an ultimate fail. I think not winning a trophy in a season is a fail, but that's just me. If you want to use top 4 as a boundary, then fine, you can use that as a boundary, which we didn't achieve last season, therefore need to next year. Joe says FSG will not spend money. Lafia, what the hell? Yeah, you guys are really on the same page as me. I'm surprised. Shout out to Ellis. I think McAllister can do the genie role. Doesn't do a lot of fancy stuff the majority of the time, but does the graft to get the ball. I think McAllister can become better than Genie, to be honest. McAllister's a good signing. Like, this is why I don't want you thinking I'm just all against Liverpool and the transfer. McAllister by himself is a good signing. By himself, he won't just be an amazing signing if he just comes and it's just him. It could be terrible. But not because he's terrible, because we will be a terrible team if we only add one more significant name to the squad. I think McAllister has the potential to surpass Genie Wijnaldum. I don't know in terms of legacy, because Genie was a part of a great team. He made a team so great. But I think McAllister can become better. James, the type of guy to sell his PlayStation for PlayStation games. You know that. I remember one time I was 10 and I went round the street, round by ours. It's like a bunch of blocks. And I went and saw Wii games, and I made about £7. Went and bought a couple of Freddos. You could buy Mega for £7 in the shop back in my day. Back in my fucking day, you could buy some Mega stuff, chat. Yeah, you kids don't know what you're missing out on. To be fair, not much, just diabetes. I just don't feel that any other team as big as ours would be signing players like this if they just missed out on top 4. We are promised a rebuild, says Mr. Jory. Ali Noose says, why to sign these players? We already have 3 to 4 midfielders for the future in the club. Let's buy one world-class midfielder. Yeah, chat, let me ask you this question. Would you rather sign 2 decent, so let's say Thuram and Lafia, for instance, or would you, why am I blurry? I don't like it when I go blurry. That ruins view retention. Please fix. Okay, I think that's fixed. If it's not, then I'll just have to go out and come back in, but we'll sort it in a second. Let me know two of those names, so Thuram and Lavia, or let's suggest, I don't know, let's say if Bellingham was on the table, would you rather take Bellingham over them, or just whoever that big name is? Because if you're asking me, now that we've got McAllister, I would love the next edition to be a big established name, just because it increases the chances of competing next season. If we can't do that, then we need to expect differently next season. And when I hear in one sentence Liverpool fans saying, yeah, we're going to compete, and then the next, that's not the case. It's a bit of a tough one. But yeah, man, I'm going to need to start getting some positive fans on this stream, man. I'm trying to do collaborations at the moment, but a lot of people are busy. Yeah, and I'm going to need to come back out and back in chat once. Do apologise. The thing just went blurry, so that's why I had to just leave and come back in. John Henry is now buying a golf team. This is an interesting conversation. John Henry is now buying a golf team. Someone needs to stop him before buying sports teams that he actually can't support. Guys, I want to hear your thoughts on the idea of him buying, a golf team. I understand some people have just laughed at the idea, the fact I'm bringing this topic up, but I'm genuinely intrigued on your point of view. Is this something that we should be upset about? Because what money have they gone and bought the golf team with? Because I know it's not Liverpool's money. Do you know the same money that they used to reinvest into the club? I know it's not Liverpool's. Maybe some of it could be, but not all of it. So if it's not all of the club's money, then whose money is it? It's FSG's money. Where's that money come from? Because I thought it didn't exist. Did you, chat? Now, listen, I don't expect FSG to spend every last God-given penny on Liverpool. That being said, I would like to think if you have an entity which is your biggest entity, I respect to the Red Sox, but we're way bigger than them. I would like to hope that would be your number one priority. I would like to hope out of all of your things on the to-do list, you would like to put Liverpool at the top because that's your biggest asset. But that is the thing. They cannot control the asset. They can maybe build the asset to a certain point, but that is what we're in right now. We're in a building the asset to a point, and the ways that they've tried to build that asset is ways that I don't appreciate. I don't appreciate the way they were on the front line for that Super League. People just put it on Perez because it was easy to put it on Perez. City backed out, Chelsea backed out, all these teams back. Liverpool and United were in there till the very fucking end because them Glazers and FSG, they wanted that league. I saw an interview. I think someone commented this interview in the YouTube comments earlier about FSG. Keep giving your thoughts on this because I'm going to delve into what you're saying in a second. And they were talking about how when FSG bought the club, they went to Bayern Munich and they spoke to Bayern Munich about, like, what do you do? You know what I mean? Like the Bayern Munich owner. I think it was the Bayern Munich owner who was talking about this. And essentially just saying, what do you do? Is this the way forward? And the impressions he was getting is like, I don't know if this guy's going to be able to handle this, you know what I mean? As he was saying things like, teach me about football. So they came into the game very uneducated and they saw an opportunity on a big brand like Liverpool, who was down in the dumps. People make it like it was saviour type stuff. If it weren't them, it would have been someone else. Trust me, we were never going to go bust. It was close, and it was closer than we would have liked. Someone would have bought the football club. It so happened to be them, and they can only take you so far. They're not bad to get you top four because they've done it most seasons in recent time. I'd still attribute a lot of that to Jurgen because they weren't doing it before Jurgen. But let's say it's them. We're not winning enough, and now you'd like to think after 10 years, 15 years of competing for Europa League and Champions League, and now we're back in Europa League, let's take that next step. Let's go and compete again. Let's keep it going because I don't think they're the people to do it. James, the type of guy to drink mouthwash. To drink mouthwash instead of water. Yeah, I've done that before. I've accidentally swallowed mouthwash, no doubt. We are back to the top 18 because we didn't build on our success. I think, yeah, that, you know what, in due course, I do think that could be a possibility of being a top 8 team or Liverpool being classed as a top 8 team. By the way, 150 people in the stream. Please smash a like. I hate hearing little rattling noises in my house. It proper scares me. They said investors. Yeah, that's going to take time if they're going to get investors. I remember but I also do believe that maybe they wasn't looking for investors, but they knew that the finances they were going to end up spending was going to be nowhere near enough. So again, it's the dangle and the carrot. Let's give the fans something that they can at least look forward to. So that's why we jumped on the Qatar stuff and we jumped on all the transfer news, the Bellingham stuff, because they've got to give you something that you are chasing. If you're not chasing nothing, then they are doing stuff. So yeah, it's a bit of a tough one. None of you really mentioned about. Okay, so someone just gave me context, which is really good context, because that was going to be a clip for the video tomorrow. 3% stake in a golf team. Okay, if it's a 3% stake, it's not significant, but then you'd like to think, although it's good to build their brand and all the money isn't just going to go into Liverpool, if they're underachieving on one aspect and they're still buying other entities, then you should see that Liverpool aren't necessarily the main priority, which you'd like to hope, because Man City, for instance, they're much more richer, but the premise still stands that, they've got multiple businesses. As a matter of fact, Manchester City have got multiple football clubs. Now, what's brilliant is they've got multiple football clubs, multiple thriving football clubs, but City is the number one priority, and it will always be that way. It won't switch to another team that they own, and they'll say, well, this is now our new team. No, they care about City. They want City to thrive, and that's it. That's the number one priority. That's the team that's going to get built to win trebles and stuff like that, because that's their biggest asset. The same way Liverpool is FSG's biggest asset, but it's the difference in mentality which will see them win and win and win, and us not win and miss out and fall short. Stephen says we will hear about investors after the window closes. Then January it will have been spent elsewhere. I don't think there ever was investors looking at the football club. I don't think there is currently. I don't dispute people keeping an eye on Liverpool, but I don't think there's discussions, because I don't think that there's anything on the table. And in terms of maybe what FSG was saying the club was worth, maybe it's not worth that. You might have to do a few calculations. We're a very expensive football club, but we're not the best in class. We haven't got the best academy. We've got nowhere near the best stadium. So when I calculate all the costs, I don't understand how we could be, say if it was 4 billion or 3 billion, I don't understand. If you told me it was lower than that, I'd believe you, because we're big and we're huge, but we're not massive. So what I think they've done is set out a bidding war to, see the market and see what they could get for this if they was to sell it, because they're looking to sell. When they took the Super League, that was a safety net to say we can actually stay here if we go in the Super League, because there's no loss. We're in the league every season, so therefore we're getting the league money, so it doesn't matter. We can be 11th in that league and everything will be fine and dandy, because there's no relegation. That was the rule. That was the premise of the Super League. So they like that idea, because there's no worry, there's no risk. They don't like a game of risk. And that's why they won't go out and spend 100 million on Jude Bellingham, because people will say I'm being negative, but I'm just trying to break down the logic. If they wanted to go and spend 100 million on Jude Bellingham to what could still not increase your chances to go and win a league title, which is only going to give you 150 million, so 50 million profit in that sense, give or take a couple of things. They're thinking, why am I going to spend 100 million on Bellingham, 300k a week wages, which is going to accumulate to around I don't know how much that is a year, but a good few million a year combined. That price is now going to be 120 to 130 million. And I've bought this one player who doesn't guarantee me the league, which is going to get me 150 million. W or L, if you caught that. Did I explain that well, chat, or did I explain it well enough? Because people in the comments don't catch it. So what I'm saying is, if we wanted Bellingham, which we could have, we would have had to spend 100 million. Now, the intention to spend 100 million on a player is to win the league. You win the league, you get 150 million, roughly. Now, bear in mind, add-ons and wages, Bellingham would end up accumulating to around 130 to 150 million. Why would FSG go and spend that much money to only get 150 million? So around, well, actually, what would be less than 50 million profit? Why would they do that? Because they're not ambitious. They want to do enough to make enough. They care about profit, not winning. So they're not willing to lose money on the football club to win, which is good, because that wouldn't be smart if you were willing to lose money. But they clearly haven't built the connections, the infrastructure, and all the other things required to be a top football team. So that's the only reason why I ask you guys if you notice what I'm trying to say there. Because if you link me with Jude Bellingham, I can get excited because, look, I'm a Liverpool fan. That's boss. If we're linked with some of the best youngsters, it keeps the carrot on the stick that I can look forward to. But then it gets there and you realise, wait there, you're just not capable for this, big man. And that's what the fans need to realise. Otherwise, you're going to get played. You're going to get played. I think Sancho does Salah on the right. Wait there. I think Sancho does Salah on the right, Sancho the left in 2020. I have no idea what that means, Theo. Sorry. I saw Sancho and Salah. I think Sancho does. Sorry, mate. I can't understand that. FSG have spent their 35 million this window, so now they need to sell to buy. So who leaves to raise funds? Well, this is what I was trying to say the other day, Graham. And I don't like being the guy who's going roundabouts in conversations. And do bear in mind, as the season goes on, it's the off season right now, so there's very limited things we can talk about. And people say impatience. People say, well, wait till the end of the window. I will respond. This isn't off the back of 6 great windows. So now I'm saying, they usually buy 5 players by now. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that usually I'm disappointed, and it's seeming that it's going to be a disappointment. Because we're not going to get Bellingham, we're not going to get Barella, we're not going to get Caicedo, as someone corrected me earlier on how to pronounce his name. We're going to get these players who aren't quite ready. So I'm just putting 2 and 2 together in my head. Okay, so Thuram's not a league winner, Lavia's not a league winner. We're most likely to get this caliber of player. Therefore, we are not league winners, and we finish 5th. How does that get you to first, you dumb fucks? In any realm, it makes no sense. You need to sort your head out if you think that's getting you first. And I do believe in the players to get top 4. If you want to win league titles, then we've got to be a little bit more urgent. Do you know what I mean? It's like, Like saying you want a six-pack, but you're still ordering off Uber Eats every night. Sort your shit out. You know what I mean? I'm not speaking from experience, personal experience. The fans just need to stop using the contradictive logic, but they don't realise it is the thing. Michael says, if Saudi come at Salah aggressively, who would you like to see replace him? Obviously, don't want this to happen, but he would obviously be the jewel in the crown in the Saudi league. Oh, he would be the number one Muslim athlete in the world. So yeah, he would be the ultimate prize, and that would be a lot of money, you know. What he would be worth to a team in Europe is not what he would be worth to a team in Saudi. If I'm Liverpool and I get an offer from Europe and I get an offer from Saudi, I am going to be testing the Saudi offer a lot more. That's where I'm pushing to 9 figures, 100 millions, 200 million. I'd start off at a 200 million ass price. I'd be like, you want him? He would make your league huge. You can afford it. 200 million. You know that where to sell to buy. You know we don't have peas like you do. So you have 200 mil. You want to build your league? Fine. There's Salah. Give me 200 mil. Nah, do you know what, James? We're going to give you 150 instead. Like, we've got that Arab money, but lad, listen, like, we're not going to get done over by a Scouser. Sound. I take your 150. Now I push it back to you and I say, add 25 mil. Let's do 175. And we'll find a negotiation. And again, guys, I had a conversation with Hussam, and people said to me the other day, like, some stupid guy came in and was saying, like, oh, you're against Salah. You have an agenda against Salah because of where he's from. First of all, pathetic. Second of all, Mane's a Muslim too, so there's certainly no agenda on that standpoint. And thirdly, even though it was stupid that I had to explain myself, the only reason why I did is because the whole conversation was under the current circumstances. Again, like all you guys agree, in an ideal world, it would be amazing if you could switch between Salah and, just for example, Chiesa. If you could switch between Salah and Chiesa on right wing, think about how much more competitive that makes you. And then, if you consider the circumstances, because that's an ideal world. This is the real world. The real world says that we're sell to buy. If we have no assets to sell, then we cannot buy. And if we cannot buy, how do we improve? We finished 5th last year. We need to improve. We need funds. And the only way we can get funds is by one of 3 assets. Hussam named 3 assets to me the other day. Verge, Trent and Salah. Now, we know Trent isn't going anywhere because we need him for the foreseeable. And then we know Verge isn't going to get an offer. But then you're thinking with Salah, like, if Saudi come in, you're thinking, why wouldn't you sell him if a big enough offer came on the table? And then people will mention the goals, like as if Salah was always that player. It was great what Jurgen Klopp was able to turn Salah into, but it's because of the system. It's not just because Salah's world class at everything. It's because he's good at things, and Jurgen Klopp made him adhere and world class within the system. Like, people will give Salah too much credit. Like, yeah, I know. Let me just give you a few case studies. Coutinho, boss with Klopp, shit without. Mane, boss with Klopp, shit without. Who else can you throw in that list, chat? There's loads of names that you can throw in that list, surely. There's loads of names you can throw in that. Emre Can, I mean, he picked it up at Dortmund, but I think he was still better at Liverpool. Dropped a little bit at Juventus, you know what I mean? Emre Can, shout out. Mamadou Sakho's never been the same, like. I think that's because of Jurgen, though. But Salah's another one of those names. Salah's another name that you can sit there and say definitively that's a guy that Klopp has improved. And if Salah went to another team, I don't think he's getting the same numbers because he's not actually world class at any one thing. He's just really decent at everything, and Jurgen Klopp's able to maximise it. So people need to realise that Salah, he's great and we need him, but we need more because we've had Salah every season for the past, and we've won 1 league title. We've had Salah every season for the past 5, and we've won 1 Champions League. We need to win more. So even though Salah's good, we need more than just Salah. Obviously, sell Salah if you get like 200 mil from Saudi. That could get you Guardiola, Barella, Chiesa. Yeah, 200 mil is extreme. That'd just be my dangerous negotiation skills, my ambitious negotiation skills. You know what I mean, chat? You know what I mean? By the way, 200 people in the fucking stream. Smash a like if you haven't already, yeah, you little weasels. Anyway, I don't think we need a big name, Mane, Genie, Bobby, etc. We're not big stars before Klopp got them. We just need players through the door with the right attitude and willing. Klopp will make them stars. As much as I agree, I also still stand on the premise that we've won 1 league title and 1 Champions League in the past 7 years. And we've won 1 league title in the past 30 years. And we haven't signed many big names in that time. I'd probably say Xabi Alonso, big name-ish when he joined. Fernando Torres, one of Europe's best strikers. That was a big name. I think Suarez was close, but I wouldn't say he was one of the world's biggest names. I think he was still slightly unproven. But the point I'm leading to is that we haven't led to many big names, as you mentioned, that has also led to very minimal success. So let me just thought provoke for a second. I forgot your name who typed the comment. Shout out to you. But let me thought provoke you for a second. If we have had minimal success with that approach that you mentioned, which is not getting the big stars because Mane and Firmino and Mane was... Why now don't we change the approach in hope that it increases the volume of the league titles and the Champions League? Because the approach that we've just took has just got us one league title in 30 years. You know what I mean? We want to increase the volume, so let's now increase the quality of players that we bring in through the door. And let's maximise this, the crest. Fuck that. Fuck this. This all goes. All this stuff goes. This is what stays. This is what stays, and this is what matters, and that has a lot of pull and a lot of power if you use it right. I see us as someone with owners who do not know the juggernaut, the power that they have in their hands. I kind of look at it like, I don't know, like, you know, for instance, I'm a Christian. I think when you find out you're a Christian, you learn a lot more about yourself, and you find out actually we're a lot more special than what we seem. And the only difference between me and non-believers is that they don't know, but they've still got all the attributes that I do. We've got different talents and we think differently, but it all remains the same. You know what I mean? By the way, praise God, is my man. Might go to Wetherspoons tonight. What you thinking? Nah, I'm here streaming, bro. I'm doing nothing but good things. So, yeah, man. Yeah, open your Bible, G. How about that? How about that for stuff? Shout out to Mr. St. Valentine. The Mr. Thought Provoker in the chat. Anyway. Amen indeed. Amen indeed. Amen indeed. Yeah, shout out to Mr. St. Valentine. Proper man of God, chat. Proper man of God. Do you think Gakpo was bought with the supposed rebuild funds that were promised for this window? Possibly. Do you know what? Someone made and raised a good point to me earlier, and it was about you know how basically Nunes wasn't Mane's replacement; it was Diaz, but we got him before. Basically, making the argument we actually got there early with the replacements. That was awful timing. Alec, that was awful timing. Oh no, I've just lost train of thought now. Rebuild funds, that's it. So Diaz, Mane, Diaz was the Mane replacement and Gakpo was the Firmino replacement. But because they went after it, didn't seem that way. The only reason why I struggle to fully believe it is because we do need another attacker. Yes, not a centre forward, but another attacker. The same way when we let go of Mane, who, bear in mind, was a centre-forward before he left and played completely different to Nunes and was much better than Nunes in that role. We left a gaping hole in the centre-forward of a player who was unproven. You guys have admitted it yourself. Nunes was a long-term plan, long-term project. So if he was a long-term plan and a long-term project, then that means we neglected the right here right now. And if we neglected the right here right now, then that means we're not serious for championships, let's be honest. Yes, Man City went out and got a Julian Alvarez, who is still really good, could probably start for most Premier League teams, but he's not right here right now. So let's go and get Erling Haaland, and we will incorporate Felix Alvarez in the team over time. Do you get my analogy? And Julian Alvarez weren't 80 mil. He was 20 mil, 25 mil, I believe. Certainly out there on the market, so I don't understand why that couldn't have been exercised. So as much as FSG maybe have used those funds, we've still noticed that we're very limited in a squad and we need to enhance it. Gakpo isn't as good as Greenwood, saying myself. That's a very odd comparison. I think this thing's Gakpo does better than Greenwood, and then probably the finishing aspect, I'd say Greenwood does better. But I think Greenwood ended up, when Greenwood was 16, 17, I thought he was going to be boss. And then he hit 18 and I thought he can still be good, but he's actually only a good finisher. He hasn't really got much else to his game. He weren't a great passer, dribbling was average. But he had a lethal finish. His finishing reminded me of the likes of Sturridge and like Rooney, for it, just that powerful shot that could nearly break a net. Something very unusual for today's young players. But his all-round game was meaty. That's one thing I started to learn about Greenwood over time. Whereas Gakpo, he's not world-class at any one thing. Like Greenwood, I think he's a world-class shooter. I think he's great at finishing. But he's not world-class at anything else. In fact, I think he's meaty at them. Whereas Gakpo's good at everything. He's not world-class at everything, but he's decent at everything. And because he's Dutch, he makes it work, lad. So I'm not going to lie, I put Gakpo significantly above Greenwood. James, what's your opinion on Ben Doku? I reckon the right coaching, he may just be world class. A player that we don't talk about enough, chat. I'm intrigued to know what you're all saying about Ben Doku. I am a huge fan. I'm a huge fan for many reasons. One reason, because he's great technically. Two, he's quick, he's rapid, he's direct, which is something that we like in our wingers. So he's got the best of both worlds. Three, he's easily coachable from the seams of it, because every game he just seems to learn more and more. His confidence grows and grows. And, AFCON next season could be a great opportunity if we don't get a right winger. I think it's ambitious going with a 17-year-old that young, starting over Mo Salah, when Mo Salah goes, he'll be starting in that position. But you have to find these gems somehow. And if there's anybody who I think can have the closest impact to, Michael Owen, not Michael Owen himself, but the closest, I believe it could be Ben Doku. I think he's the best youngster that we've got by quite a comfortable distance. If you're going to say an under 18 or an under 19, I think Ben Doku is quite comfortably the best and most superior player that we've got in that age group. And he never came through the academy. He was signed from Celtic. So good scouting from the team, from whoever decided to purchase him. Great scouting from them. Whenever he got the chance, he was boss. Shame he didn't play as much towards the end of the season. I thought it was surprising not to see Doku. Maybe it was easing him in because he's young. Still needs to grow a little bit more. But yeah, I'd like to see Ben Doku stay in the team. I wouldn't even want him to be loaned out. Ben Doku should be pretty good, but I'd like to see him go out on loan before we start to bring him into the team. And that's a fair assessment. I wouldn't mind if he got loaned out, but I wouldn't choose it. If we didn't get a right winger, I'd probably rather Ben Doku as my right winger than Harvey Elliott. Chat, if you could start a right winger, you're going with Harvey or Ben? I'm good. I love Harvey, mate. You know what I mean? He's a top fella, but I just, as a right winger, I just have a preference towards Ben Doku. It's just the directness, the everything that I labelled before. It's just, that's why it's edge Ben Doku. I remember when we played Derby or somebody in the League Cup earlier in the season, I took my mum to the match. It was Boss. And Ben Doku came on for like 10 minutes and he was the one that stood out. Never scored, never assisted. Just looked boss footballer. How's Bobby Clark fitting in? Obviously Lee's son. Lee Clark. Okay, that's interesting. Never knew it. Bobby Clark's doing well. Bobby Clark's a good player. I don't know if he'll get into the first team, but he is certainly good. He's got skills. And again, he was another one last season who, when he played, he actually shown things. I believe he even might have scored a goal last year, in the game that I was talking about, chat. I don't know if it was Derby or someone like that. I'm pretty confident in saying it was Derby County. And Kelleher saved us on penalties. Remember? The Irish Casillas, doing the business. Shout out to Theo. I bet Liverpool fans found it funny when Tom Brady was at Old Trafford. Aren't the Patriots a Liverpool thing, Gilly? Oh, who cares? I'm not going to lie. When I saw Tom Brady at Old Trafford, I never thought one single thing of it. Yeah, bro, like American celebrities and Hollywood and all that, I stay away from them, mate. I can't even tell who's who in that world no more and who they align with. So, yeah, I try and stay away from that Hollywood world, me. But if you ever see me in Hollywood chat, something's gone wrong. Something's gone wrong. No, I need to be sat here for my whole life. If I'm never just sat right in this spot talking to you on this live stream, something's gone wrong. No loan. No, I want to treat him like Foden. That's a good shout. He does not need a loan. He's good, just like Foden's debut. I agree. I think that's a great player to compare him to as well. Stylistically, I think it's a good comparison. Anything can happen with a young player. There's so many players who you can win in under 18s World Cup at 80 or 17, and then you're a bin man by the time you're 23. So you genuinely could have been one of the best in the world, but the trajectory just didn't keep going that way. So I'm thinking about what Benzo could be, and what he could be absolutely insane. Not starting either. Both aren't good enough at the moment. Doku over Elliott, but I fear we are overhyping him before seeing enough. I'd loan Doku out somewhere before he gets games. Like United loans out Ahmad. I think he's better than Ahmad Diallo, though. I'm not going to... Just my opinion. Diallo's good, though. Diallo's good. I base how good a player can be. I don't know their mentality. I'm a fan. I don't know what they're like. I don't see them day in, day out. You can only see so much from someone on the pitch. You don't know what they're like in training, or you don't know how they handle social media and stuff like that. But I do know technique, and based on what I've seen and based on what I know about Ben Doku, he's up there. He's up there as one of the most technical players in the squad. If you think I'm over-exaggerating, feel free, but I'm just being honest. Doku's probably better for the current system than Salah, because he's more of a wide winger. He's more creative for sure, but he wouldn't get the goals. So as much as I see what you're trying to say, I don't think we improve with Doku there. But that type of player, I get you. How do you feel about Carvalho going out on loan? Good question. Do you think he was given enough opportunities last season? Well, here's the score. I didn't see enough. Fabio, when I watched Fabio play, I didn't get the thing that I got when I saw Ben Doku play. I'm not trying to say Ben Doku's going to be messy, but the basic foundations I saw from Ben Doku immediately. Fabio Carvalho, you can tell he's a saucy baller, but there's inconsistencies in his game. There's mistakes that are made, and obviously physically he doesn't match up to the game. Whereas Ben Doku, for instance, I saw he's a little quick fella, lad. He's dead stocky as well for his age. Got a big square head like Minecraft, so he just squeezes through these players. Happy days. Fabio Carvalho didn't have the same luxury. Fabio Carvalho is the kid in five-a-side lunchtime who does the five-star skill moves and gets kicked in the shins. That's the kind of thing from Fabio. He seemed rather intelligent as well, but I do think a loan move in the Bundesliga where it enhances his value to a team who really wanted him. I don't see why Leipzig will get him if they weren't looking to start him and they didn't think they could do something with him. So from that standpoint, it's very encouraging because now the two outcomes are this. One, he comes back and has a bad loan and we know it was a bad player. And then your question gets answered. Was Carvalho good enough? Apparently not, because he weren't good enough at Leipzig. But then if he is good enough, bear in mind there's no buy option or anything like this. So if he is good enough, it's two things. We're getting an amazing player, or we're about to sell a player for 30 to 40 million to Leipzig. Because if he has a good season, that must be the price we're going to end up asking for. At least 25. But for a young, hot prospect, if he has a good season there, why not? Why not? Leipzig have got the money. Trust me, they're the Red Bull business. They've got the money. So either way, it works out well. We either know it's a dead player and your question gets answered, or we get a good player coming back, or we get to sell an asset for a significant price. So I think it's one of the smartest and best pieces of business that Liverpool have done this window. Because if we was to keep him into next season, that means we would have to test him in the number 8 and the and left winger. And I don't think he's in the pecking order for any of those. If we had a number 10, then fair, but we don't play with a number 10. I will tell you, I feel Carvalho was just like Havertz in Chelsea. They never played in their natural position. I don't know. I don't like Havertz too much. Not comparing Doku and Ahmad, just saying like Ahmad let him get games in the first team somewhere, then bring him. Nah, I get you. I knew what you were trying to say there, Harris. I was just sort of referencing that I wouldn't loan out a player of that quality, especially if we're not going to get another right winger. In an ideal world, of course, it'd be great if you could just loan out Doku and whatever have you, but who knows? Ellis says, I think Fabio could be a Coutinho type player. Chat, is this a W or an L? Do you see Fabio, do you rate him that highly? I don't see I don't see the correlation. I'll be honest. I've compared him to Coutinho before because it was an easy one, but yeah, I'm not one who sees it. Coutinho was unreal, man. I think we need to be careful. Carvalho would have had traits of Coutinho, but he wouldn't have been the full finished product. By the way, could you believe that Hussam were trying to say Coutinho weren't world class, and then his premise on who's world class is top 5 in their position. Coutinho was never top 5 in his position, ever. Are you wild? Are you wild? Do you not remember his last 4 months? James, if we are signing Doku or saying Doku ahead of Elliott as right winger, whilst also saying let's sign midfielders, where's Elliott fitting? Personally, I'd loan him out. If we get I don't know, chat, it's one of those things. You either loan him out again, give him one more chance to break into the team, or you sell him. I wouldn't sell him now. So yeah, either loan, and if he can't break into the team, then you sell him next summer. As much as it'd break me heart, because I know he's a good player, you know what I mean? But, we need to get players who are good enough for the right here right now. I'm not saying sell Harvey Elliott. I'm just saying let's see how it goes. Michael says, do you see Kyle Kelleher as the long-term replacement for Ali? What's his ceiling in your thoughts? Guys, let me know what you think about this. Is Kelleher that guy who replaces Ali? Because I'll tell you now, and this is just not, I don't call these predictions, I call these spoilers. This is never happening. Can I say it again? It's never happening. So yeah, I don't see Kelleher being above Alisson any day of the week. Plus, I think Alisson's got a good few years left. So I think we'll narrow in terms of the manager. Adam says Fabio probably won't ever fit any system under Klopp and will never be good enough to force a system change. Fabio's going to struggle a lot in the current day. If he goes abroad, different. Premier League, he'd struggle. Not many teams play with a number 10. And with the lack of teams who play at number 10, it means that Fabio's limited because that's his best position. People say that he shouldn't have left Fulham. I don't know. I think it was a move worth taking. And let's not be premature. You know, he's still got time and he could go to Leipzig, play boss as a left winger or an attacking midfielder like Coutinho and then do that for us. But we need to give him time and we can't rush him. John says, imagine if France go and win the tournament and their clubs both demand crazy money. Oh, I don't know. I know. Chat, I just really want to get Coney. Do you know, when the more and more I watch Coney on a day-to-day basis, I just think, like, that's the player, man. That's the player above Barella. I'd take Coney above Barella. I think to myself, right, you've got Barella, who's never going to sign. You've got Trent, who's never going to play in midfield. And then you've got Thuram, Lavia and all them, right? Vega, all them. Them three are seedy, unproven players. Like, they're good, and they could be good, but right now, not league winners. I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, like, do you know Coney? Like, I'm not trying to overhype him. I'm just saying based on what I've seen off the profile of all these. Because even Barella, I like Barella. I think he's boss. But you know what I'm like? I noticed the little things as well. And there's certain things that would maybe make me go away from that signing. But Coney, so nice on the ball, physical presence, energetic, athletic, genuinely well. People were trying to compare Thuram to Yaya Toure. I'll tell you now, Coney is closer to that example. I'd never want to compare someone to Yaya Toure. He was a special individual in his own right. But guys, Coney is the guy. Like, I just don't. And you guys notice it as well. I see you saying it in the chat, like Coney is the guy, and Coney's good. Yeah, like even Connor, he admits it as well. A lot of people in the chat. I just don't understand why that's not a signing that we jump on, exercise on, go a little bit more in for. Yeah, that'd be nice. And another comment from Conor: Coney's ability to play as a sixth pivot is mental. Honestly, great player. I'd recommend go and watch more of him if you haven't. Harris says, why is Trent not playing in midfield, in your opinion? I think Klopp defo going to test them in pre-season. Okay, here's my answer to your question, right? First and foremost, I think he found a stylistic weapon at putting someone with Trent's ability at right back, especially an inverted right back. And Trent's played different types of right backs. There's times where he's been, that sort of inverted, and then there's times where he's been more defensive, but just not good at it. Klopp found a masterpiece in Trent, because Trent was huge to us winning the league title as well. I have to make it clear. Him in that position was massive. So the reason why he's not doing it is because he's probably trying to build and fix the rest of the team before he worries about changing anything about Trent. Because defensively, Trent's been bad, but the team's been bad defensively. You can't just put it on Trent. Trent wouldn't be in the one-on-one scenarios if the team hadn't been as collectively bad. Now, let me go on to the next point, that we only have a certain amount of funds to spend. And if we need to buy... So for the past 3 windows, we've needed a big player in these positions. Attacker, midfield, and defence, right? So this season, it's midfield. Last season, it was the attacking situation. And then the season before, it was the defence, right? So... you think about all these factors and variables where we've had these issues, the attacking issues and whatnot. Fullback isn't a main priority. So if you're on a limited budget and this isn't a main priority, quite clearly because we bought Calvin Ramsey and we didn't loan out Calvin Ramsey, therefore the intention was Calvin Ramsey comes from Aberdeen, who finished 11th in the 10th in SPFL. In the season that he joined us, and he was the backup right back. I think it was ninth place finished team. There's 12 teams in the Scottish League. A 9th place finished team in Aberdeen. Their starting right back joined us and became our backup. So I only raised that question because the reason why I don't see us starting Trent in midfield is because that means Conor Bradley would need to start week in, week out. And if it's not Conor Bradley, it's a new right back we'd have to buy. And I don't think there's anyone of quality that we would not have to spend more than 20 to 30 million on. If you want to use Pavard, for instance, he was like 25 to 35 million. So we need to get that player who is not only of quality, but also of value because we work within a budget. And I think that's why Klopp won't play Trent in midfield, because it's not a main priority right now. And I would agree with that sentiment. Trent, Gomez and Bradley are the right back options. Exactly. These are the options going into the season. We're not buying a new one, because if you get Trent into midfield, then you're relying on Bradley or Gomez being your starting right back. And I get it. Trent has been like bad defensively. I don't think people quite understand like how he starts pretty much like most of our attacks. And maybe you do understand it and don't resonate with it, but you would not be saying, let's put Trent in this midfield and let's let one of these two guys be the right back that replaces him. Conor Bradley could. Joe Gomez could never, because Joe Gomez isn't stylistically like Trent. Conor Bradley could, but that's a big could. You know, there's one thing doing it for Bolton and getting them promoted. Congratulations, by the way. And I am excited for Conor Bradley. I think he can be a top player. But to make him your starting right back, which is what he would have to be if Trent was to not start, then that's something I couldn't quite get on board with right now. So yeah, that was the best way I could answer that question. I'm sick of Gomez. He's terrible. Chat, out of 10, how would you rate Joe Gomez's time at Liverpool? Because I'm made up. He's won everything with us, but since that league winning season, it's just never been good for the kid. It's just never been good for the kid. He gets so much shit, scrutiny, and he does play bad. I can't believe this was the player who I thought could have been the next Rio Ferdinand. I thought Jordan Ibe was going to be the next Raheem Sterling, and I also thought Joe Gomez was going to be the next Rio Ferdinand. It was bad. It was really, really bad, chat. I had poor knowledge when I was younger. I was like, oh, you. I've only been but I'm bummed. 2 out of 10? Nah, 2 out of 10's harsh. 4, 3, 6. I think 6 is more sensible. I think Charlie's on the lines of me. 7 then slid into a 3. I think that's also a very accurate assessment. I'm not going to lie to you. If you want to do it in periods, then fair. Why are we talking like we can't just play 3 at the back? We do this anyway. People say, like, let's play 3 at the back. We change to a 3 at the back, like a lot of the time during the game. Chat, do you notice it, or am I just chatting baloney? Do we never change to a 3 at the back throughout the game? Don't we do that like quite often? Where you see Fabinho drop back, or Kanate will push over, and then Robertson will become the left-sided centre-back. Isn't that what we do anyway? And if we do that anyway, why are we caring about how it starts on a team sheet when we're probably going to still alternate between a back 3 and a back 4? You know what I mean? Gomez gets a 3, and that is generous. That's our last. Jordan, I've got a trial at Chester FC. Oh, was this recently? Heavy. It's heavy the way he's not even playing like for the team. He went through a bit though, didn't he? Festa! Shout out to you, sir. Gomez hasn't been good for 2 things. Injury and confidence. Coming back off from injury, Gomez was never the same type of player that needs to run the games. I still think he can do a good job at right back. Yeah, he can do a good job for sure. I agree. I just struggle to see how he starts every game at right back, but I see what you're saying. Ryan says, honestly, as long as FSG fix the issues that need addressing in terms of the squad and the rebuilding process and not leave it like they've done previously, I just want to see intent to help the club. Ryan, I'd be intrigued to know what you'd say that intent is. Like if it was buying midfielders or buying attackers, or what if it was 2 midfielders, 1 defender, how many players in what positions would you need to see sign this summer for you to recognise that intent being shown from FSG? Because I think it's different for everybody. Michael says, do you think Kent has wasted his talent going to Turkey? Like he could have done some bits at lower Wow, Ryan Kent, has he left Rangers? That's interesting. I don't think he's wasted his talent. I think he's making more money in Turkey than what he would have made in the Prem. Because a lower league team wouldn't be paying him 100k a week, and I'm sure he'd be getting paid something close to that there. Like, you know, like 60, 70, 80k. I don't think he'd get that at a lower league Prem team. So, yeah, I think, I don't know. Kent went to Scotland, won what he won there. I don't think it's a bad career. We all have different images on what's a good career and bad career. Like, if I had a son and he ended up playing in Football League 2, I'd be fucking proud of him, mate. I'd be like, well done. You were in a Shark Tank and you made it to the professional leagues. But Kent, you know, I thought he was boss when he was in the academy. I thought, how aren't we playing him more? But yeah, he went to Rangers, done really well, and then now he's going to Turkey. And I think if he looks back on his career, and let's say he has a trophy out of each country, both Scotland and Turkey, I think that's a rather successful career. Secured the bag. Why not? Why not, mate? You know what I mean? We need Van der Ven. 6'4", pacey centre-back. He's the future of Holland and potentially Van Dijk's long-term replacement. Rather him over Ignacio for now. He's the underrated. Yeah, I've looked at him and he looks pretty good. Reminds me a little bit of a Mats Hummels. You know what I mean? But quicker. But good on the ball as well. No, I agree. I agree. Guys, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to end the stream there. I know it's still a bit shorter, 50 minutes, not quite the hour that we usually do. I was only going to do about 45 minutes, but we got 4 minutes over. But yeah, guys, really appreciate all the support on the channel. Be sure to come back to engage more with these conversations tomorrow. And just bear with me until the new season starts. If you think the channel's good now, the new season is going to be unbelievable when we're getting all these collaborations with everyone on YouTube, and we're going to be doing the watch-alongs and some very exciting projects. So bear with me, guys. Bear with me. Stick with me through this process. You guys can say you were here first. Smash a like to let me know that you were here first. And no, seriously, much love to everyone, man. Like, you're all a part of my journey, you know what I mean? And just want to let you know the channel's doing beautiful things, and it will continue to do such. Anyway, much love to you and your mothers, and I'll see you beautiful people in a bizzle. Peace.